Hello, Silicon. I'm Randy Clark, and we're going to do an interview today with our state representative, Ben Robbins, District 33. And what we're going to be talking about today is amendments. And the reason that I wanted to do this interview is these amendments are on your ballot that you're going to vote on Monday. And people don't always understand what these amendments mean. And Ben's gonna help us out kind of explaining really what they mean, where you can vote on them, because they are on the ballot to vote on. But if you don't know what they mean, most of the time you don't vote on them. Hey, Ben.
Hey, how are you, Randy?
Can we dive right into this?
Let's go for it.
Let's start with Amendment 1, which is Aniah's law. And this is a very important amendment we're voting on.
Right, it is. And I want to clarify, Randy said vote on Monday, but it's Tuesday, November the 8th. So just remember, it's this coming Tuesday.
Keep me straight, man.
I'll try.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember, but you remember the girl Aniah that was at Auburn, that was an Auburn student a few years ago, that there was a man that was out on bail for a violent crime and then murdered her. So that's the reason the law is named Aniah's law, is because right now, a judge can only, basically what we're trying to do is expand the crimes that will not allow a person to get bail and out on bond. So basically now you can only get denied bail for capital murder. So only if you're charged with capital murder. But what we want to do is add other violent crimes like murder, assault in the first degree, kidnapping, first degree burglary, arson, terrorism, child abuse. These crimes would not allow you to get out. So what happened to Aniah would not happen in the future. That person would have been denied bail and would have stayed in jail. And they would have stayed there until their trial, which would have been found innocent or guilty.
Okay.
So if you vote yes, you'll be saying, I want to expand the crimes that you're denied bail on. If you vote no, you're saying I want to keep it just a capital murder.
Okay. All right. Now, statewide amendment 2. And I know this one is dear to your heart, because if I'm not mistaken, ever since day one, you've been trying to get the broadband infrastructure going around our rural areas.
Right. This one's important because the Attorney General wrote an opinion that said he wasn't sure if it was legal for local governments, county governments, to give money to private industries to expand the broadband network. So if you vote yes, it's clarifying that you are basically saying we want to amend the Constitution to allow Talladega County or a local municipality to give money to a private entity to expand broadband. If you vote no, then you're saying I don't want to allow the government to give any funding or grants to private industry.
Okay. Great. Now let's move on to statewide amendment 3. Can you talk about that one just a little bit?
Yes, that's a pretty simple. It's that if the governor of the state of Alabama is going to pardon someone on death row, that when he or she, the governor, makes that pardon, they have to notify the victim's family. So in this scenario, if the governor decided, I want to pardon someone that is about to be put to death, you don't just, part of pardoning them is you have to notify that victim that died, that was murdered years ago, their spouse, their children, anyone related to them, say, hey, we're going to be pardoning and not putting to death that individual that murdered you.
Okay. All right. Great. Now, statewide amendment 4, Ben.
All right. So this one is that 6 months prior to any general election, that we cannot change by a legislative act the rules of that general election. So basically what we want to do is say, here are the rules, you know what you're playing by, and we're not changing them on you right before an election. So 6 months prior is the last time you can make any tweak to laws concerning elections.
That way you can't sway a vote one way or another.
Right, that way you can't sway it and you can't change the system. If you're like, oh, well, I'm going to lose, or this will help me win, you can't change it. You're playing by the rules and you can't change them 6 months before.
This amendment more or less says we're not having that.
Correct. So if you vote yes, you're saying we're not going to be allowed to change the game, right before then, within 6 months. If you vote no, then you say, basically you can still change the rules.
Right. Okay. Statewide amendment number 5.
That deletes and kind of modifies language within the probate code. It changes the term orphans and updates it for saying minors and children. So it won't be you won't be using outdated language.
Okay. Now, this is a pretty long one here, Ben, and I'm sure you can explain it. Let's go to statewide Amendment 6.
Well, if you are basically, or across the state, certain areas are allowed to have special ad valorem tax districts, which are ad valorem taxes are your property taxes. So we allow for economic development purposes where you can have a special tax district for counties and municipalities to use to build infrastructure or help with projects to grow our economy. Well, what this is saying is that instead of incurring some of the debt, we're going to let you pay as you go, which means you can pay, which pretty simple, pay as you go as you build, which will be a more efficient way for counties and municipalities to fund economic development projects and will prevent them from going into as much debt.
Okay. All right. Now let's move on to statewide Amendment 7.
And it's also an economic development issue because the Constitution says you cannot give a government official a thing of value, which the purpose of that is is for ethics. You know, we don't want to say, well, me as a government official, well, I'll give you a thing of value to sway how you vote or act. Well, for economic development, it becomes an issue on our tax abatements or incentives, or those become things of value. And so really what this does is it kind of clears it up and makes an exception for economic development. So tax incentive or any kind of incentive given by local government is not considered an unethical thing of value. So it'll allow us to help develop our economy and build infrastructure and projects to help grow.
Okay.
So that's if you vote yes. If you vote no, then you say we don't want this economic development exception.
Okay. All right. Now, these two was kind of confusing to me, Ben, but I know you're the man to explain them. And the reason I say that was confusing is because Amendment number 8 is retaining to Shelby County, and Amendment number 9 retains to Jefferson and Tuscaloosa County. And my thinking when I first read them is, well, why should I vote on anything in these counties? But not so fast. It is important.
Well, the reason it's on our ballot here in Talladega County is because the way our Constitution is written, no county has home rule, which means they don't have the authority. Even Talladega County doesn't, Shelby doesn't, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson. They don't have the authority to just pass laws themselves that are under the authority of the state, which means that only authority that they have is given to them by the state of Alabama. So the reason that's on our ballot is because it's amending the entire statewide constitution. And what it's saying is that the Jefferson County sewer system with Amendment 8 would be regulated by the Public Service Commission. And Amendment 9 is that Lakeview would, a city, its roads and waters would be regulated by the Public Service Commission. And that would be yes if you want to vote that way, no if you don't. But that's up to you as the voter if you want to make decisions on Shelby and Tuscaloosa County, and if you do, then you would make those votes. If you say, well, that's up to the people of Shelby to decide how they want to live and they want to be regulated, then you can just, you don't vote and you let those people vote. But that's the reason it's on our ballot.
Okay, all right, great. Now, Amendment 10, our last one, is pretty long. I'll just let you explain it.
It is, but also when we vote on Tuesday, there's going to be a place on the ballot for you to vote on what's called the recompilation of the Alabama Constitution. We have the longest Constitution, not just in the state of Alabama, but in the world. Our Constitution is almost 1,000 amendments. And so what Amendment 10 is that if we vote yes to recompile the Constitution, that all of these new amendments that'll pass will be recompiled within that Constitution. And I'll go into what the recompilation is, which is if you vote yes to recompile the Constitution, what you'd be doing is you would be streamlining the Constitution. We would be reorganizing the way it's read to try to make it more user-friendly. And we would be deleting outdated language that no longer serves a purpose within the Constitution. Things that have been found to be unconstitutional, we've removed. And so things that are duplicative, meaning we have amendments in our Constitution that say the exact same thing. We have one amendment that says it, and then we'll have a future one that says pretty much the same thing. We've combined those. And so if you vote yes to recompile the Constitution, you would be condensing our Constitution down and making it more user-friendly. And so then if we vote to recompile, then if you vote yes for Amendment 10, then it would recompile these new amendments as well.
Okay. Ben, I want to thank you for explaining these two amendments. And I also want to thank you for everything that you've done for our district. Since day one, you've hit the road running.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank you for everything that you do, because really, the work you do, cleaning the litter, just putting out a positive image goes a long way for everything that I try to do, and anybody in government tries to do. That you cleaning up the city and having a positive image, I can't tell you how much it means to me.
I sure appreciate it. Ben, I got one last question for you.
Okay.
Would you mind telling the viewers exactly what you're running for? I know it's re-election. And also, tell the viewers why they should vote for Ben Robbins.
Well, thank you for that opportunity. Well, my name is Ben Robbins. I'm running for re-election. I'm already your state representative, but the election, like I said, is this Tuesday. And I feel like in just, not even quite 2 full years, we've already made progress. There's more that can be done, and that's why I'm running for re-election. But what I can say is what I've done in the first 2 years is that I feel very excited about progress we've made in broadband, progress we've made in economic development. And by that, I mean, one of the things I talked about was to grow our economy, we have to rethink the way we educate. And in Coosa County, I helped reopen their Career Tech Center. In Clay County, I got a $1 million grant to help them build a Career Tech Center at the old Armory in Ashland. And we're working on cleaning up Avondale Mills to eventually turn that into a workforce development center. So, that's one of the first building blocks, is having a good working base where people can actually be employed. And so I feel good that we've done that. I helped Coosa Valley Cooperative get grants to expand their broadband network, and that's going to continue to build out over the next year or two. And hopefully, I've been told maybe by the end of next year, their entire network will be built out, even all the way down to Fayetteville. So we've got a lot of progress going, but there's a lot more that needs to be done. I'm not going to just say, well, we've done a thing, one positive here or there, but what we need to do is we need to continue to grow our economy. There are more jobs. We need to make sure that we are focused on economic development. We need to focus that we don't put the tax burden too hard on our rural citizens and our working class people. We are a blue collar district, and we need to make sure that we stay focused on growing our economy. And that's what I'm going to do over the next 4 years if you re-elect me. And not only that, I'll be available to you, and I'll try to answer any issues that you have or concerns, and try to move our area in the direction that you want it moved to.
Great. There you go. State Representative Ben Robbins.
I'll say thank you again for the opportunity, and please don't forget to vote on Tuesday.
We sure appreciate you. So there you go. Vote Ben Robbins on Tuesday. See you next time.